Hello everyone. I am Mrs. Leticia C. Parreño, your mathematics teacher of grade 9 students of Siayan National High School during school year 2021-2022. First of all, I would like to congratulate all of you, my dear students, for having your decisions to continue your studies despite this pandemic. All of you, my grade 9 students, I welcome you to Siayan National High School. Okay, since I am your mathematics teacher, I would like to share with you first our grading system for this school year 2021-2022 para magkasinabot ta. So, we have two parts. The first part is the 50% of your grade is coming from your written works. And that written works is from your activities found in your learning activity sheets. And the remaining 50% of your grade is based from your performance. And your performance is from the result of your assessment, which is given every 2 weeks. 2 weeks after the discussion of the first week and the second week, we will have an assessment, and that assessment is for your performance, 50% of it. So your grade is 50% from the written works and 50% for the performance. So therefore, inyo dyan ang ansiran tanan ang mga activity found in your learning activity sheets para tamo pasar. Anyway, kung naamoy mga questions, ako rang ihatag po ninyo ang akong cellphone number and Facebook or Messenger sa ato ang group chat para magkasinabot jud ta. Please don't hesitate to ask your questions kung naamoy dili sabtan upon reading your learning activity sheets. Pwede ra mo katawag, pwede mo ka-text, pwede mo ka-chat nako kung naamoy dili masabtan. When in fact, ang tanan nga mga discussions, gipasayo na siya diha sa learning activity sheets para maka-answer mo. Ang inyong buhaton nga magbasa lang, then sabton ang inyong gibasa. Ug dili masabtan, manawag lang dayon mo nako. Okay, so this time we will have to start our first lesson for the first quarter. Okay, the quadratic equation. So, for this lesson on quadratic equations, we have two learning competencies or objective that we need to achieve. First is first competency illustrates quadratic equations. So, ako pa mong i-orient, ipaila-ila what is quadratic equation. The second learning competency is solves quadratic equations by four solutions. A. Extracting square roots. B. By factoring. C. By completing the square. And D. By quadratic formula. We will have to discuss this one by one. So, first on the illustration of a quadratic equation. This is our lesson 1. So, you just follow in your learning activity sheets. The lesson 1 we have is on the illustrations of quadratic equations. So, a quadratic equation is one variable in a mathematical sentence of degree 2 that can be written in the following standard form. So, the standard form of a quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. This is a standard form of a quadratic equation where so where a, b, and c are real numbers and a is not equal to 0. This is read as a is not equal to 0. In the equation ax squared, this ax squared is the quadratic term. Don't forget, this is called quadratic term. Then bx, this bx is a linear term. And c is what we call the constant term. Again, ax squared is a quadratic term, bx squared is a linear term, while c is a constant term. Example. So I will give you an example. Example 2 x squared. So example 1, 2x squared plus 5x minus 3 equals 0 is, what is the quadratic term? So the quadratic term is 2x squared. Then the linear term is 5x and the constant term is negative 3. This is a standard form of a quadratic equation. Again, 2x squared, this is read as 2x squared plus 5x minus 3 equals 0 is a quadratic equation written in a standard form. So, your A, if you identify this, the value of your A is equal to 2, B is equal to positive 5, and C is equal to negative 3. So, this 2 here is the value for A, and 5 is the value for B, and negative 3 is the value for C. So, 2, 5, and negative 3 are called constants of the quadratic equations. Then, 2x squared is the quadratic term, 5x is a linear term, and negative 3 is a constant term. So, easy. It's very easy for us to identify the value of A. Para sa yon lang yun, tanawon lang nato ng number written beside the numerical coefficient of x squared is your A. The numerical coefficient of x is your B, and the constant term. Second example. So this is your example 1. Second example, I will give you the second example. We have 3x times quantity x minus 2 equals 10. Again, this is read as 3x times quantity x minus 2 equals 10. If you will see or observe this given equation, is not written in a standard form. A quadratic equation, again, this given is a quadratic equation but not written in standard form. Nga parehas ani nga naka-plaster na siya daan. Kani siya wala. Not written in standard form. So, to write the equation in standard form, so what you need to do first is to write. Since this is not written in a standard form, you need to write this quadratic equation into a standard form. But the question is how? So to write the equation in standard form, you need to expand the product and make one side of the equation 0 as shown below. So I will give you this or the solution of this. You have to multiply first the quantity outside or the number outside the quantity. So 3x times x, 3x times x is equal to 3x squared. Then 3x times negative 2 is equal to negative 6x equals 10. Again, 3x times quantity x minus 2 equals 10. This is a quadratic equation but not written in standard form. Multiply 3x times x equals 3x squared. 3x times negative 2 is negative 6x equals 10. Then, again, this equation is not in standard form. You need to subtract both sides of the equations. So this is now negative 3x squared minus 6x minus 10 equals 10 minus 10. So since this is positive, you have to subtract positive 10, subtract 10 in order to have a 0 on the right side of this equation. So 10 minus 10 becomes now 0. So what you subtract to the right side, you subtract also to the left side of the equation. So the equation now is 3x squared minus 6x minus 10 equals 10 minus 10 is 0. So if you observe now the equation, this is now a standard form of the equation. So from this given equation, you are rewriting the given equation into a standard form. This is now your quadratic term, this is your linear term, and this is your constant term. Again, quadratic term, linear term, and the constant term. Since the equation now is written in a standard form, you can identify now the value of A. So therefore, your A is positive 3, your B is negative 6, and your C is negative 10. So very easy for you to change or rewrite the given equation into a standard form. So the equation becomes 3x squared minus 6x minus 10 equals 0, which is in standard form where A is equal to 3, B equals negative 6, and C equals 10. So, very easy. Very easy. Next, the last example. Example number 3. So, the last example, then mag-activity na din ta. Example number 3, the given is quantity 2x plus 5 times quantity x minus 1. equals negative 6. So, example number 1 is different from, so as you observe, example number 1 is different from example number 2. And example number 1 and 2 are different from example number 3. This time you are given the binomial. So what you need to do is to rewrite this equation into a quadratic or into a standard form of a quadratic equation. This is a quadratic equation actually, but not written in standard form. So, expand. So, you multiply the first term of the first quantity times the first term of the second quantity. 2x times x is 2x squared. Then 2x times negative 1 is negative 2x. Then 5 times x is positive 5x. Then positive 5x times negative 1 is negative 5 equals negative 6. Combine like terms. This term, when we say like terms, they are having the same variable and the same exponent. So, like terms. Combined like terms, so this is now 2x squared, negative 2x, and positive 5x is positive 3x. Then, minus 5 equals negative 6. Now, this time, in order for you to have a 0 on the right side of the equation, you need to add positive 6 both sides of the equation. So 2x squared plus 3x minus 5 plus 6 equals negative 6 plus 6. So uh, you need to add 6 here at the left side of the equation and plus 6 to the right side of the equation in order to give a 0 at the right side of the equation. So, your new equation now is 2x squared plus 3x minus 5 plus 6 equals 0. Because negative 6 and positive 6 is 0. Then combine this one. Then 2x squared plus 3x, negative 5 and positive 6 is positive 1 equals 0. Now, this is now your standard form. Your quadratic equation written now in standard form. So, observe from the given. From the given is not written in standard form. Then, you come up with the equation, the quadratic equation written in standard form. So, the equation 2x squared or quantity 2x squared plus 5 times quantity x minus 1 equals negative 6 becomes now 2x squared plus 3x plus 1 equals 0, which is a standard form. Written now in standard form where A is equal to 2, your B is equal to 3, and C is equal to 1. This is your A. Then your B, and this is your C. So, di ba sayon ra kayo? Sayon kayo or pertig yung sayo na? Pertig yung sayo na. Then, uban, maingon sila nga liso daw ang mathematics. Actually, mathematics is a very easy subject among of all the subjects. Then, this time, okay, this time, you have to answer now activity 1, activity 2, and activity 3. So for activity number 1, this is entitled quadratic or not quadratic. So we have the direction. Identify which of the following equations are quadratic and which are not quadratic. So write Q if it is quadratic equation. Then identify the values of A, B, and C. Write NQ if not quadratic equation. So, inyo lang isulat diha quadratic or not quadratic. So, unsa may inyong timailhan nga quadratic na siya? Ang iyong timailhan nga quadratic na siya if the highest exponent is 2. Pag wala na gani na siya ito diha, na dili na siya quadratic. Pero wala siya gisulat, like this one, wala not written in standard form, you need to rewrite first the equation into a standard form before you identify whether that equation is a quadratic equation or not quadratic equation. So we have 10 numbers for your activity number 1. So sayon lang kayo na siya. Inyo sang isolve pag dili siya. Inyo sang istadihan ang example tapos isolve ninyo before you identify that equation is quadratic or not quadratic. Then after that one, if it is quadratic, then you write the values of A, B, and C. Okay? Pag not quadratic, no need to identify the value of A, B, and C. Then for your activity number 2, this is find A, B, and C. Very easy. Direction, you just simply identify the values of A, B, and C. Ang nakanindot kay given na ang equation. But you have to take note that even if the equation is given, again, you have to write it in a standard form of a quadratic equation before you identify the value of A, B, and C para sure. Okay? So, we are on activity number 3. Activity number 3, this is entitled Set Me to My Standard. So direction, you need to write each quadratic equation in standard form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So first, written, again, you rewrite it in a standard form. You just observe if it is a standard form. If you think if it is a standard form, then you have to write it in standard form. Pag not written in standard form, you need to rewrite so that that given equation will become a standard form. So again, that's all for our lesson 1 for quadratic equation on our first week lesson, quarter 1, week 1. So abangan ang next discussion natin on lesson 2. You just follow your learning plan for our learning plan. Thank you.